Hello, hello. Hello. Oh, let me change this view. There we go. I'm trying to be a bit more professional. Hello. Oh, speaking of professional, let's move that out of the way. These cables. I feel like if I just move my monitor like this. There we go. No problem. There we go. Alright. I'm just going to get straight into it. No dilly-dallying. I'm just going to start drawing. I am continuing with... Oh, sorry, let me zoom out a little bit. I'm continuing with this. It's my banner design for this very channel, in fact. And I am doing items on this lower shelf bit here on this front desk. I have turned down the opacity of this navy blue colour in order to see what I'm drawing right now a little bit easier because of all the details and layering. So yeah, that's it. I'm just going to get straight into it. This kind of container is going to have all these like cutting materials in it. Oh, I feel like my computer is really beginning to chug with this big design that I've done. Never mind. That's what I have to say about that. Never mind. To be honest, it doesn't really affect my workflow too badly. Okie dokie. So we've got a couple of blades, 2 scalpels, a pair of scissors. I'm thinking of some kind of like pokey pointy stick thing, so I'm going to draw one of those. Pointy pokey stick thing. I've seen these sorts of things around. I know what I'm talking about. As ever, I hope my audio levels are good. I have just jumped into this without warming up at all, so if I'm doing all wobbly lines, that's what it is. I've yet to get my hand-eye coordination synced up. It's funny how the old human brain works, isn't it? Funny, that human brain, and how you've got to do things like warm-ups. I imagine it's much like being a dancer or an athlete. I mean, it's all hand-eye coordination, isn't it, at the end of the day, so... Sometimes if I've been on projects where it's been weeks and weeks of work, very consistent style, I will actually be able to sort of go to bed, wake up in the morning, like drink a cup of coffee, and then because it's been such a long sustained period of drawing in a very particular way, it's like there's no need for warm-up. It's like my brain has been so conditioned for that particular job and style. But at the moment, because I'm jumping onto this personal project kind of irregularly, and also for just short bouts every so often. I'm not really ever getting into that state, so it almost feels like every time I'm jumping on, I'm starting kind of afresh again. It's a little bit frustrating, but you know, in some respects, I suppose it's good practice that I'm doing this at all. Because I feel like if I wasn't doing this project, I would be getting so rusty, which is part of the reason why I am doing this project. It's a large part of why I'm doing this project. Just to keep the ability going. And apologies YouTube, I might occasionally talk about the music. Again, you've got the text very very nicely. You've got the text. Where is it? Wait, I've got to learn where I point. There we go. You've got the text right there. Or if I'm in this view, you've got the text right. Oh my god, I can't point there. Right there. Right there. Right there. Or right there. Anyway, so you can look it up. So if I talk about it, you're being lazy if you're not looking it up. Obviously, if you're on Twitch, you may or may not be hearing this. But this band, the Matoya Hamaguchi group, I really like this album. I only discovered it a couple of days ago through some random YouTube channels. There are so many Crate Digger style YouTube channels. I find it so much more compelling on YouTube than on any of the other music streamers, because I think a lot of it is unlicensed stuff. It's quite odd, because when it comes to streaming, YouTube are really tight and tough with playing music on their platform, but then there are so many channels not monetized, and I guess maybe that's the catch, with like incredible music. I suppose that's the other thing, is that a lot of this music is kind of obscure and doesn't really have nobody can be bothered to claim it. But yeah, lots of really good stuff. So I tend to do most of my music discovery either by listening to obscure internet radio stations, or I'm subscribed to like 100 Crate Digger style YouTube channels. I'm not going to name any though, because I don't want them to get into trouble, sorry. But I'm sure you know the type. If you just even were to, on YouTube, search for like, I don't know, do a search for Afrobeat 70s, there immediately you'd already find a few channels with people who've like uploaded those sorts of albums, so you subscribe to those guys. Some of these people haven't, like, there's a couple of channels which are almost like archives because they haven't uploaded anything for like 12 years, but they've got enough of a backlog from those 12 years ago that I still follow them just so I can dig through their channel every so often. So it does feel a bit like crate digging in that regard. And usually they're really nice, and they've uploaded the album art and everything, so thank you to those people. And there are some channels that are still actively uploading stuff too. I think I think there's just enough people out there who maybe own the LPs or the cassette tapes or whatever, and they know that they're not on Spotify, and so the quickest way to put them up online is on their YouTube. I sometimes feel like they're actually doing it for themselves, just to have like a sort of cloud storage, easily accessible platform for their obscure media. Because they're never monetized, these sorts of channels, as far as I can tell anyway. So I'm assuming they're doing it purely out of the love of the music. This is going to be some kind of loop tool, I've decided. You may have noticed also that I've slightly tweaked my overlay again. I spent absolutely ages yesterday trying to find just the right pattern. I even started drawing something, but I gave up because I didn't quite like it. It's kind of hard to sort of... You want something that isn't boring, but at the same time you don't want something which is too busy either, because then it gets a little bit... I find a little bit too busy for the screen. There's like enough going on like here that you don't really want too much going on up here. I'm going to learn to be able to like point with this hand and also point with this hand. Look at that. I don't know why I find that very amusing. Yeah, so if it isn't super obvious, I absolutely am a sucker for Japanese new wave, synth, new age, prog, fusion. Absolutely love that kind of first of all those genres, but also there's something about the Japanese take where they involve a lot of their own folk sounds and a lot of their kind of traditional melodies, I guess, which I find very compelling. It's not to say also that I don't listen to loads of European and American and South American stuff like that too. I mean, South America is like, I feel like in large parts the home of a lot of fusion, like jazz. So, and a lot of Japanese musicians were actually highly inspired by lots of Brazilian musicians at the time. There's actually quite a large... Well, I mean, God, I hate saying things like that because it makes me feel like a mansplainer, but Japan, or rather Brazil, I think Argentina, quite a lot of South America in general, I think has quite a large Japanese immigrant population, post-war, I imagine. Just people looking for opportunities, like, you know, a lot of the world. Oh, I should probably tell my friend who's currently, I think, working from home, that I'm online. I mean, the thing is, people get notifications, right? When I start streaming on Twitch, I'm pretty sure people get the notifications. But I guess people don't bother checking, or they've got the notifications turned off on their apps. Is it dependent on being on the Twitch app, I suppose? Don't you get emails? I don't know. I probably shouldn't be too proud about that, frankly, considering I am very much starting off. You know what, fuck it, I might just, pardon my French, I might just message my friend quickly. Bear with me. No pressure. Let's see. I am currently streaming. I have a spare minute. No, wait, that's a lie. I have a spare hour. There's no point streaming for a minute, is there? Don't think so. Pipopa. This is the track I first heard. It's actually a cover. Would you believe it? I've heard the original Pipopa, and this is a cover that I liked a lot. So I got the album. Maybe a different shape of scissor. So you've got one of these. You often get like a hook version, don't you? It's like to pull, I think, thread through. I'll do something like that, but with a hook. Goes with the eyeballs, you know, it's like when you're stitching stuff onto eyeballs. It's actually a good idea. Maybe I should do like some kind of needle container. A lot of work went into making the Sesame Street show. It's almost hard to believe something like that could have existed. It does exist, but also existed in the way it did back in the 70s, 80s. Yeah, this might be my only stream of the week actually, unfortunately, because I've got quite a busy looking rest of the week. So we'll see. Sometimes I like to think I'm going to stream in the evenings, but that never happens. Always around this time of day. But frankly, so far it hasn't really made much of a difference to my view count whether I stream during the evenings or the days. So that's alright then. I like that next to my name on the chat, users in chat, it says I am the broadcaster. God, that sounds so official. Guys, I'm a broadcaster now. I'm like the BBC. The BBC. Anybody here a fan of In Our Time? That's the name of the show, I think. In Our Time. Recent new host of that show, Misha Glenny. I know Misha Glenny, funnily enough, from watching YouTube lectures from the IWM, which is this sort of international university in Vienna. I think it used to be in Hungary before Orban went very right wing, and now is based in I believe in Vienna. Anyway, he used to run like their public facing lecture sort of department. I'm sure he did stuff before that, but that's how I got to know him first. And obviously he's moved back to the UK because he's doing this, or maybe not, maybe he still lives in Vienna and he's just phoning it in, but he now is the host of In Our Time, after Mervyn Bragg, who must be 9 million years old now, has I guess given up the mantle. It's a good show. It was definitely needing a bit of a shot in the arm because of how old Mervyn is. He's still alive. So I think he's retired, which is, for the best. Because it does seem like now that Misha Glenny is the host, it does seem to have like gone back. It's a bit more of a pep in its step. I mean, Misha's no spring chicken, but Mervyn's, I think, must be in his 90s. Or mid-80s? Mid-80s. I keep wanting to call him Mervyn Peake. Not Mervyn Peake. That's the guy who wrote the Gormenghast trilogy. No. Mervyn Bragg. He's very braggadocious. He's not. He's far from braggadocious. If anything, he's quite snippy. And I feel like the older he got, the snippier and more impatient he got. So they kind of needed someone. Because I don't know if you know the premise of In Our Time, but it's like a panel, lasts I think 45 minutes, and they get 3 or 4 experts in their field, and they'll just talk about a particular subject. And Mervyn, now Misha, acts as a kind of as a what would you call it, a panel moderator, not compare, that's on stage, moderator. And he would just rapid fire ask some questions, and as it's quite a short show and quite a lot of the subjects they talk about are quite complicated. I'm really sorry if I'm explaining In Our Time to people who know what it is already. It's on Radio 4, and it's also a podcast now, as most Radio 4 shows are. He would rapid fire these questions at people. Mervyn, this is short show. So the minute he thought one of the specialists was talking just a bit too long, he just quite curtly, abruptly tell them, okay, well, we've got to move on now. You're taking too long on this answer. Sort of literally with that kind of an attitude. And the older he was getting, the more crabby and curmudgeonly like that he was becoming, which is kind of fun to hear, but I imagine kind of frustrating if you're a specialist and you're trying to give. I just feel like he was making it a little bit too combative, and he was probably just tired. I mean, he was doing that show. There must be something like over 1,000 episodes, because it started, I think, in the early 90s and has been every single week, if not twice a week. No, I think it was once a week. But for, the last 25 years or something, let's say 20 years. No, longer, it's 30 years. I mean, how long can you do a show like that for, especially if you're older? It's actually quite interesting. There's quite a few really old and yet still seemingly quite with it presenters on Radio 4. Another one I'm thinking of is the guy Hugh Laurie. Hugh Laurie is the guy from House and The Brideshead Revisited. No, wait, is he in Brideshead Revisited? No, he's in Jeeves. It's the Stephen Fry guy. Anyway, that's not Hugh Laurie. Is Laurie Anderson? Laurie something or other. I forget his name. Anyway, he does the sociology show on Radio 4, and he's in his 90s, and he's still doing it. He's been doing it forever. He once revealed like how old he was, and I couldn't believe it. And there's also the guy who is known for the nice meme. Why am I blanking on his name? Very famous poet and children's writer, but he does a language. Word of Mouth is the name of his show on Radio 4 too. I'm just talking about Radio 4 shows now. But specifically my point is they're all quite old, but with it, which is reassuring. I'm hoping when I get to 90 I still have the wherewithal to contemplate hosting a radio show weekly. I'm really curious to know how old Marvin Gaye is dead, but Melvin Bragg. Let's have a quick Google. Melvin Bragg. Melvin. I think that's how you spell it. Yep, Melvin Bragg. He is. Wikipedia, please. So he started In Our Time in 1998. So yeah, that's a long time. He's 86. There you go. So he's almost 90. And then I just want to also check, what's he called? Laurie. No, not Laurie Anderson. That's a musician. Is it actually not going to show it? Laurie. How about if I do Laurie BBC 4? Oh, he's not coming up. Let's do his... Oh, what's his radio show called? It's like a sociology show. Oh, I can't remember. And Word of Mouth, the guy who does Word of Mouth BBC is Michael Rosen. Yeah, there we go, Michael Rosen. And aside from being a well-known children's author, poet, so on and so forth, and doing this Radio 4 show, he also is known for that noise meme, which is often deep fried. Am I using that term correctly when something's been like really edited and warped and so forth? I think they call it deep frying a meme. Alright, yeah, that looks about right to me. I might read into how if it is possible to have music playing. If you don't monetize your stream at all, whether it's possible to have music playing on YouTube as well. I'll look into it because I don't see why, if I'm not monetizing it and it's a lot of quite obscure music, I don't see why that should be an issue. I don't see why it should be an issue, right? I just don't see why it should be an issue. Cut to me being arrested by the police and lawyers beating me to a pulp with their briefcases. I was struggling to think of an accessory a lawyer might have. Although these days it would just be a laptop, wouldn't it? It wouldn't even be a laptop, it'd be a mobile phone. No, it would be a tablet. I've completely ripped off that voice from Adam Buxton. I think he calls it his media wanker voice, and I do like doing it. Yes, my name's Pete. No, they wouldn't be called Pete. Anyway, I'm a media wanker. Yeah, I'm working on a really important film at the moment. It's about Sesame Street. What it's really about is nostalgia. It's about craft. Craft is like really important. They wouldn't say things like that though, because actually those types of wanks don't believe in craft. That's why they are the way they are. They're about pushing narratives. Sorry, am I being really loud? No, I always associate that voice less with the creative side of the media ecosystem, to use a media wank term, and more with like the kind of, I don't know, I guess the business and, I mean, equally important because, you know, you can't have one without the other, that's what they would say, but like more with the hard-nosed stuff. Relationships, building relationships, networking. I think Nathan Barley was a good sort of satire, at least of how it used to be back in those days. I wonder if actually that kind of world has also changed a little bit. I don't know. Sometimes I think things have improved in that sort of respect, and actually it hasn't. It's exactly the same as it always has been. Capitalism. Gotta love it. Oi, 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 excuse me. Where's that coffee? I don't think I've got enough in there actually. Oh no. Oh no. Oop. Couple more tools in here and I think we are done with this guy. Hooray! So we've got a hook thing, loop thing, another pair of scissors maybe. Yeah, go on. Go on then. I'm actually going to draw myself a little perspective guide for it though quickly, so let me pop this on a different sub layer, put you there, do this. Actually, you know what, I didn't need to do that. I'm sorry. If I'm doing the guide, I can actually do the guide on the sub layer and then just draw on the layer I'm using. Just trying to think how these scissors might rest. Against the side of this vessel that these things are in. Oh, I also want to put a little ABC on this diskette container. No, it needs to be a bit more like here, I think. Like that. And then a bit more like that, possibly. If you're wondering, this is a very strange looking pair of scissors. Well, it's because I'm drawing the guide for it. Know what I mean? Because now I can go onto this layer and I can sort of work it out a little easier. There's some very nice flute going on right now, YouTube. Fortunately, I don't know why, but it doesn't like displaying necessarily all the time kanji or kana, so it's just for the name of this track doing NB, but then brackets Wave of Sands. So I'm sure if you did Matoya Hamaguchi Group and then Wave of Sands, you'd be able to find it quite quickly. But yeah, this is, at the moment in my life, my absolute jam sandwich. Oh, I'm using the wrong. Just realising I'm using quite a thin 9. Oh, maybe 9's alright. I'm trying to keep my line width rather consistent. But actually, this is only 1 point lower than I was using for everything else. So actually, that's not too bad considering it is a small detail. Bit. It just suddenly seemed a bit smaller than I was using, but I think it's because I'm a bit more zoomed out than I had been. Well, that was a very nice bit of music. I do like I said, I really enjoy this album. Glad I found it. I don't know what else this Matoya Hamaguchi group did. I wonder if this is like their one-off album. Quite a lot of these new agey groups were just sort of session musicians that formed like one particular instance of a band and then released an album and then moved on. I feel like there was quite a lot more moving around as a musician back in those days. Probably because a lot of the bands you were in, you weren't like sort of contractually obligated as a lot of musicians in sort of more maybe mainstream types of pop music would have been. So they had a bit more artistic freedom to go where they fancied. More collaborative, I guess. I do talk a lot about music on this channel, which is supposed to be about animation, but that's, I think, partially because I'm not at the animation stage yet, and also because no one is here to ask me any questions about animation. I mean, I could go through again why I'm doing this project. It's because, I mean, I've liked Sesame Street for a very long time, from being a child, funnily enough. And I have been watching more of it recently, especially the old stuff, because you can find quite a lot of that online. And now that I'm a professional animator, I could appreciate a lot of the animation spots on the sort of 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s Sesame Street much more. Anyway, it's all really good stuff, very high quality. And you can kind of tell most of the time they would have been the animators would have been given like either a theme or even just a number or a letter and be said, have at it. As long as it's child friendly, family friendly, just go for it, do whatever you like. So some of it's really nutty, but all really good and often very humorous. And I thought, I'd love to be able to do something like that. And I thought, well, why not? So the project is an idea. The idea of the project is rather to do a whole alphabet, sort of slightly various, all obviously drawn by me, but kind of different styles for each letter, give or take. A through to Z, not Z. I'm not an American. That's the one thing that annoys me about Sesame Street. It annoys me that they're American. No, it's just they always say Z, and I would say Z. Anyway, the idea is basically to build up an alphabet, so 27 little segments, animated segments, which is kind of how I have to work at the moment. And then eventually, not only would I have 27 little short films, but then I could also stick them all together and make a nice long, probably be under a minute, but like a long, like mini shorts, and also then just like a short. And things like that, especially if they're well done, go very well on things like YouTube, because parents are always looking for stuff for kids. So it's also maybe with an eye of being a little bit commercially minded. But before I even get to that animation stage and planning all that out, I actually wanted to do a banner image for this channel, and I've gone into, as usual, way too much detail, but I'm really enjoying the process, which is the other part of this whole project, is enjoying the process. So this is meant to be like the ABC workshop where they're making all the ABC animations, like this is my how I'd imagine it would look like. So you've got, various ABC, and then you've got a few letters down here on the bottom. They're like off-cut letters. Does that make sense? Doesn't make sense at all, but there you go. And each bench has like a slightly different process. Anyway, I'm just getting through it slowly but surely. I need to learn not to sniff on mic, because I've watched myself back, and man, the sniffing is obnoxious. And now that I've drawn attention to it, you'll be noticing it even more so. So I need to cool it with the sniffs. Hey yo, cool it with the sniffs. Sounds like I'm kind of some kind of narcotics user. Why are you deleting what clearly is the line I don't want you to delete? Thanks, Toon Boom. Don't need these lines here anymore because the scissors are in the way. So if the handle's kind of there, then you see how that guide really did work for me quite quick to kind of just get on board with a perspective. I really should do guides like this more often, but sometimes I think the guides actually can be a hindrance. Sometimes, it's such a push-pull. Sometimes the guides make me really tighten up. Sometimes they really help. Like a little quick guide can help, but sometimes it's a hindrance. What am I like? Is that the end of the album? It is. Okay. That's the end of the album. Let me put something else on. Should I put a mix on maybe? No, I'm not going to put a mix on. I'm going to put on an album. I'm going to put this, I think I've put this on before, I'm going to put it on again. It's like a early 90s kind of Greek Balearic house album. There we go. Koti K. What's the name of the artist? I've definitely put this on before because I remember talking about this vocal riff. Because I feel like I've heard this vocal riff on something else and I can't quite place what it is. I keep thinking it's maybe Art of Noise, but I don't think it is. If anybody knows what this vocal riff is, let me know. It sounds so familiar. Unless somebody sampled this. Maybe somebody has sampled this. But I've definitely heard this vocal, this female vocal before. Just can't quite place it. Yes, and if you're wondering what language he's talking in, I'm assuming it's Greek. Efcharisto. That's the only one of the like 3 Greek things I know. Efcharisto, parakala, and kalinichta kalispera. There you go. I think that's it. Obviously I know food stuff, but that doesn't count. Okay, let's go through all the famous Greek foods. Souvlaki, gyros, feta cheese, moussaka, olives, boo, boo, boo. There's something called like boo, 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 B-O-U, bukiris, I don't know. Terra masalata, although that's Turkish. Ooh, this is where I need to be careful, because I feel like there's a lot of contention about what's Greek and what's Turkish. Uh-oh! Who'd have thought talking about Greek food could be so controversial? Hot topic. Hot button topic. Is that working? No, that's 100% too out there. That's too out there. Man, where have I heard this vocal riff before? It's going to drive me mad. It's going to drive me mad. It's not going to drive me mad, but it's definitely... I've definitely heard this lick somewhere. Can you call a vocal melody, a repeating vocal melody like that, a lick? Probably not. I've only really heard of licks in the context of bass guitar playing, frankly, so probably using that incorrectly. I feel like it's maybe New Order or something. No, it can't be New Order. It's probably Art of Noise. But Art of Noise would have released their stuff way before this album came out, so it's not Art of Noise. That just doesn't make chronological sense. Almost sounds like Moby at times, actually. Do you reckon Moby ripped this guy off? Maybe it's Moby I'm thinking of. Moby, you thief. I always knew he was a bad one. How can you not be a bad one with the name Moby? What time is it? It is... Okay, it's coming up to 3. So I think I'm going to work till 4 today. So I'm going to go for another hour. Like I say, I don't think I'm going to get around to being able to stream later in the week. So I'm going to try to get a bit more done now. I mean, I might be able to find a minute in the evenings. I always say that, and then I'm either too tired or there's something that has to get done. Okay, let's get rid of that guide. We don't need that anymore. Goodbye, guide. Do I like that? I think I'm going to get it to look a bit more like this one. Just a little bit more like that one. There we go. I also feel like actually this hinge should be a little further down. Probably more along those lines. Lines, get it? That's what I'm drawing. Oh boy. This is why this is going to be such a successful channel, because when you've got lines like these, come on, the puns keep coming. When you've got lines like these, I'm going to have to be beating the crowds away from my front door. More, 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 stream more. We can't, 1 hour every 3 weeks isn't enough. More. And they come outside my front door and I'm like this. Guys, I've got more lines. And the crowd goes wild. He said lines. Oh my god, he said lines. It's another good Simpsons episode, is the one where Bart becomes incredibly famous for a brief period because of his I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Say the line, Bart. Man, The Simpsons was an incredible show. And other trite things to say. You see, I feel like saying Sesame Street animation was incredible is not a trite thing to say, because I feel like people who do know, there aren't that many of, and people who don't know are many. And I don't know, I just feel it's such a great underappreciated show. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole debate of whether it's anywhere near as good as it used to be, because I think unfortunately the way the world is and how much defunding there is of, especially in the States, of public broadcasters, it's, I think, a little unfair to compare. You know, it's much harder now to get something like the level of detail. Yeah, anyway, whatever. You see, that's a much longer debate. But my point is that, yeah, I don't think this nostalgia fest to Sesame Street is too obvious, and even if it was, it's about doing something. If you're doing something obvious, if you do it well, then that's fine. And my intention is to do this well. Not just fine, but well. My friend, obviously, who I thought might be free, is not free because nobody's come online, and I thought he was a given. But he might come on later or watch this as a VOD. Or not. No pressure. This is why I do debate whether it's worth me actually even saying I'm going to do this. I should just do them, upload the VODs. Maybe I should write down that I'm most likely to stream sort of like between 2 and 4 p.m. on a weekday, with a very slight chance of maybe, I don't know, like 9 till 11 p.m. on a weekday or a weekend. I'm afraid that's as much of a commitment I can give. Okay, I think we are done with this pair of scissors. And I think we're done with this container. Right? I don't think it needs any more. This is fine. It's actually quite hard for me to tell because I've looked at it for quite a while now. But I'm going to move on. MoveOn.com. Because I've worked on it long enough. You know what it is? I know what it is. It's this. Has anybody been watching Limmy's stream? This is a question for people who are familiar with a Scottish, 2-time Scottish BAFTA winning comedian, but originally web developer, aka Flashmaster. These are all, I suppose, in jokes. Of how Limmy refers to himself. Anyway, he's been playing a game called not Factorio, the other one. Satisfactory, is that the one? I have to say that I prefer watching him play. This is my own opinion. I'm saying it like that because he himself gets very touchy when people, and rightfully so, when people give him notes about games that he should play. But I tend to prefer him playing narrative games, or at least games with dialogue in them, because he's very good at riffing. Like, it's one of his genius abilities is to get into character. Like, he gets into character very quickly. And yeah, when it comes to these sorts of more what would you call them? Like infrastructure games, I guess, like city builders and that sort of stuff. I love playing them, and I'm sure I'd love to play Satisfactory as a game, but I just don't get the amount of pleasure I would do when watching somebody play it. So I've not really been watching his recent stuff, his recent streams, because he's been playing this Satisfactory game for ages. No, before he played Satisfactory, he was playing The Rise of the Golden Idol, and that I did enjoy. I think it is just that, like, I like watching him play games that I wouldn't necessarily play, and that he has moments to kind of riff about the stories and that sort of thing. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. I want to draw one more thing. What do I want to draw? Do I want to draw one more thing here? I'm just overthinking it again. Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah, maybe something like that. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. This is some nice synth sounds. Climbing up those scales. They call this, I guess it is a form of chord progression, isn't it? Do 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 do. Now, do I want it to be behind or in front of the razor thing? Do I want it to go like this? That is to say, behind this thing. Oops. Oops. No. Toon Boom. Toon Boom. Anyway, something more like that. Maybe. Actually, yeah, you know, I do want it like that. Yes, I've decided I do want it like that. You know what? I do want it like this. And this is going to be... Oh, you know what? I never did one of these palette knives. Maybe I should do a palette knife. Too late. Too late. No palette knife for you. I suppose I could make it into a little short stubby palette knife. Would that work? Nah, I'm just going to keep it something simpler. So, hold on. If I make it a little shorter, like so, and then make it into, you know, I've got like a whole studio behind me. I'm just going to look at stuff behind me, and oh, look at this thing. Okay, let me change the view. Let's look at this thing. Look right here. What's this? Oh, it's a crochet hook. So I'm gonna, you can kind of see it there. I could do like a crochet hook. You know, people use crochet hooks not just for crochet. They use crochet hooks for all kinds of things. I won't even go into it. It would blow your mind. So maybe I'll do a crochet hook type ending. There's another crochet hook. What a surprise! I'm surrounded by crochet hooks. It's almost like my significant other runs a crochet business. Hint, hint. Yeah, these are all crochet hooks. I guess the universe is trying to tell me to do a crochet hook. Also, that's another album over. That one's not very long. That was almost an EP. Change view. Let me just put another album on. I didn't realise how short that album was. Oh, yeah, it's only 5 tracks long. That makes sense. Okay. What next? What next? Do I put on a mix for 1 hour? Maybe. Let's put on a mix. Let's go for this one. Perfect. Is that going to come up? There we go. BPT stands for bar part-time, which I think I've said before is a wine bar in LA that does releases really good mixes. That they obviously have live DJing in the bar that they record and then put on their SoundCloud. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll go to bar part-time, even so I don't drink. They probably have some nice non-alcoholic cocktails or something there. Very violent start to this mix. What does a crochet hook actually look like? Let's have a look. So you've got like a pointy bit and then the hook bit, right? You've got the pointy bit and then you've got the hook bit. Anybody else watching this into crochet? I'm going to keep asking questions like that into the ether. I feel like I will manifest viewers this way. Manifest, manifest, manifest. It's actually not a bad crochet hook considering. I'm very glad I made that choice. Or rather, sorry, that the universe provided me with that choice. Whoa, he got real spiritual real fast. Who are you talking to? I don't know. Talking to you, I guess. All right. Oh, it's a bit tall, you know what? I'm just going to really quickly cheat. Just to make it not quite so sticky out. Please forgive my cheating. Why is this person so scared of a tin drum? Sorry, YouTube. This person is scared of a tin drum. You know what? I'm going to move it slightly differently. Yeah, that's it. A bit more like that. Perfect. Oop. Yeah, that'll do. There we go. Hey, we've actually finished that thing. Flipping out. That took a lot longer than I thought it would. But it's done now. I keep fiddling with these letters because I keep trying to get the kind of curve perspective on them, just so. Maddening. Just quite a hard thing to do. Anyway, that's getting there. Okay, cool. Right, so just because it's easy, I'm just going to write. Well, first of all, let's make this the same colour as everything else. Let's go. Come on, Toon Boom. This is where it's beginning to chug a bit. Oh, hello. Distasteful ashtray. Yeah, most ashtrays are distasteful, so I'm going to have to ban you. Bye. Oh my goodness, this is us. You right there, Toon Boom? Oh, please don't crash. Ah, I was using the wrong tool, that's why. There we go. Phew! After all that, it crashed. It would crash. That would be very disappointing. Okay, now I can turn the alpha up on this. There we go. Where's that mask? I'm not really using this mask for here, so I might use this mask for something else. That is to say, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm actually cut, chug, okay, new layer. I'm going to do this as cutting tools can, or should I just do tools can? No, cutting tools can 01. Add and close. Put that on top like this. No, okay, don't. Control Shift V, paste in place. Make you the right colour. Great. Then I go to this mask. I'm actually going to delete there we go, delete it from there, there we go. Because I'm going to rename this mask as just can mask, and then get rid of all this, delete, go back to my brush tool, select the brush color, let's make it a bit smaller. I'm basically, sorry if it's not clear, I'm masking out the oh, you know what I need to do? Actually don't have it that colour just yet, so I can see what I'm doing. No, you're not going to change colour? There we go. Alright. So then quick mask. Just, no, wrong colour. Mask colour, please. Thank you. Just want to mask out the back so it's a bit clearer. Is she talking about sex? Sorry, this is YouTube. I really need to be more aware that if I say things like, is she talking about sex, out of the blue, it's not obvious I'm talking about what the singer is insinuating. And the singer is very obviously talking about lovemaking, and I'm being a little bit silly. Again, this is the kind of gold that you'll get when you watch, subscribe, watch, whatever, my stream. Just line after line of comedy gold. Oh, no, I'm not going to call it comedy because it's 100% not comedy. At best, it's dad jokes. At best. If you're lucky, it's dad jokes. Otherwise, it'll just be inane rambling. I think that's everything that's obviously needed masking. Okay, cool. So pop you back in there. There we go. Awesome. Awesome! Amazeballs! Okay, and now we can do it so that this is fully opaque. Then go to this, and do this, and do that. Can we? We can. Alright. So, before I do anything else, I'm going to quickly put some letters here. ABC, funnily enough. But I'm just going to do it like as if it's been handwritten. So... I think what I'll do is the ABC written on here, and then I'm going to just add a few more letters to the floor. Just keep it a bit simple today. Unless I can think of something that goes next to this diskette. What layer is this on? Oh, it's because I'm on the wrong... Silly man. Cut. Here we go. What a dafty. Paste. There we go. Pretty sure I've redrawn this bit a couple of times. I can see there's a bit of a band here. Is that any better? Oh goodness, come on. There we go. All right. I do like that the bot I recently just now booted has called Distasteful Ashtray. Very good. I just want to check something. Yeah, it's fine. There's something about this line, I think it's to do with the line that is the edge of the composition, which is slightly confusing me. Oh. There we go. Alright, that'll do. So, do that. My computer is really finding this extremely hard to deal with. The fan is going wild. Okay, 1.5 hours. I'm going to stream for a tiny bit longer, 20 minutes or so. Because I got some chores to do, some IRL chores. Oh, wrong. Perfect, that looks good to me. Let's do those letters I was saying I was going to do, huh? So, you know what? I've not saved once. Whoa. Jeez, oh. There we go. This is technically version 40, so I have worked on this for 40 sessions. I've not streamed all those 40 sessions, and also some of those 40 sessions, some have been like for half an hour and some have been for like 3 hours, so it's not like I've been working 40 solid days on this thing. That'd be mad. That'd be crazy. Although it does sometimes feel like I've worked on this for 40 days. I think I started this before Christmas even. Oh no, it wasn't. It was like, in fact I can tell you when I started this. I started working on this. Oh, it was before Christmas. Okay, I started this, would you believe, midway through November, so yeah, that's just how life is at the moment. Okay, so ABC, but I want it to be written like in sort of like a bit of a fun. Let me see, how could I do it? Capitals? No, I want to do it in like lowercase-ish. So what about something like this, if you know what I mean? Like naive script, maybe? Looks too much like an E. How do you do a C when it's like this sort of script? No, that's... Actually, no, is that how you do it? Yeah, maybe something like that. You just don't want that to look too much like an E. I might have to look up. How do you do a script C without it looking too much like an E? And writing scripts. Typeface. What does the C look like, guys? Oh, it's bright. Oh, I've not turned on this. It's dark enough to turn on my underlighting. Okay, so no help whatsoever here. Okay, so it seems like most people do it this kind of quite basic way where there's no crossing over, which I guess makes sense because otherwise you do make it look like an E. Alright, so I'll just do it like that. So I could go like this. Something like that. So let me put my beautiful reference over here and do it here. Yeah, perfect. I'm going to turn this off because it's too bright in my eyes, guys. There we go. Just a bit more in the centre. Would you do like that, maybe? No, you wouldn't. I feel like I could definitely do better than that. Put that here for reference. Possibly that. Let's try one more go though. You get out of here. Not you. Or you. Let's try one more time. I want it to be a bit more like chunky, like fat. Really round. Come on, man. Let's go. Really, really round. As round as you can get away with. No, but actually I didn't mind the way that came out. Kind of a bit like that, maybe a bit more like... There we go. Get rid of that one. Pop that one in. Yeah, that still reads like a B, doesn't it? A bit more round. Oh, oh. There it is. I think that's it. You know what, I think I'm just going to wait one sec. Let me just try to... Like that. And maybe just do it so that this is a bit more curly. Let me just do it this way. Oh. Something like that, maybe? No, I don't like that. There we go. No? Yes? Maybe? Oh, okay, I see. Alright, if I do... What's causing that little weird bit here? What is causing this little, like, weird chunk? There we go, alright. Yes, that will do. That will do. So I can get rid of this one on top. Do I prefer this one on top? You know, I think I prefer... the way I've done the A there, so I do that. I feel like it's always the type stuff that I seem to take the most amount of time on. For whatever reason. Yeah, that's probably more like it. A bit more like the other one. I'm going to make this bottom C bit though a little rounder. Yeah, I think that is kind of what I'm after. Perfect. Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm sure I'll tweak it another million times. Get rid of that. Get rid of you. Amazing. Look at that. Beautiful. Just going to put it a bit more in the middle like that. Okay. All right. So, how much longer have we got? 150. Okay, I've got 9 minutes basically. Yeah, I've got basically 10 minutes. So I'm not going to start anything new, or rather I am, but nothing like that. What I'm going to work on is another letter here on the floor quickly. So where are my floor letters? Floor letters. There they are, perfect. Let's do one quick one. Let's say, so we've got E, Q, L, R, T, U, Y, S, G. Is that an I? Who knows? What's another letter I could put here? Maybe a V? I'm thinking maybe a V. Or is that too similar to the Y and the N? Maybe. A? No. B? No. C? No, because that's all here. D. Could do a D. B, C, D, E. We've already got an E, F. We've got F was like an E. See, we've got a G, H. No, I've done. I think I'm going to do a D. Perfect. Let's do a D. 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 Okay, so quick D, and then I'm going to log off. Just need to get the perspective right. Maybe I actually want it to be a bit more like that. Yeah. Assuming that's roughly in perspective. Is that right in terms of perspective? No, it's not. I'm going to do it a bit more like that. If I turn a pivot point there. I'm doing this really quickly. It's a bit better, isn't it, like that? Possibly just a tiny bit more. Yeah, there we go, it's better. And then also that needs to be a bit more like that. Perfect, I guess. Okay, quickly do our letter D. D. Hey Bert, I found a D. Hey Bert. Just trying to see, how have I done the rest of these? If I look at that B, there is a little bit of a straight there, so yeah. I want it to be, have a little bit of a straight before it goes into the curve. And am I doing it where it's all... No, I'm not actually. Okay. Just seeing if how I'm drawing the rest of them, so I'm keeping it sort of stylistically similar. Nice. Hey Bert, I found a D. It's a pretty good impression. Man, I forgot music like this existed. I've got some very you can't hear this on YouTube, but it's like some very what would you call it, like uh, uh, I wish I knew the academic terminology for this sort of stuff, but it's very like man, you would use like a really stupid term like race critical theory. It's basically just a song. It's clearly from the, I'm going to say, late 80s, and it's about the Tory party being a racist party, which it was most certainly in the 80s. Um, Arguably still is in some respects. I don't want to talk into, I don't want to get into too much politics because it's just such a boring subject these days. Or not even boring, just very sad, and so I don't want to get into too much politics. Anyway, it's just a very like righteous, I guess, politically charged track, and you don't really get that so much these days. You probably do, actually. You know what? I retract everything I've just said. You probably do. It's just not necessarily the same kind of themes. Exactly. Not quite the same themes. No, I've made this bit a bit too thick. This perspective stuff is really tricky sometimes, you know. Sometimes you gotta do some real trial and error. What is it with this American voice I do? I don't do it that often in real life, so I don't know why I'm saving it for the stream. Doesn't seem any more appropriate. It's like when I'm trying to make a serious point, but I don't want to be taken too seriously. I need to find like another clown voice. Oof. This bass line, guys, is very dub. I hope you've got some good, decent headphones and or speakers. Otherwise you might not hear this. These are, what I'm wearing are just some not particularly expensive Sonys. They actually require a battery in them because they have like a bass boost to them, which is nice, but sometimes a bit annoying because I forget to turn them off and it just uses up these AAA batteries that they take, because obviously AAAs don't have a huge capacity, so if you forget to turn them off they just burn through the battery regardless of if something is playing, so I just have to always remember to turn them off. I think they do a Bluetooth version of these actually too, if I'm not mistaken. I think I was looking into the Bluetooth version, but then I went for these ones because they were quite a bit cheaper. and as I only am ever using them with my desktop computer, then Bluetooth wasn't really that big of an issue. It's not like I'm walking around with them. I've got a separate pair of Bluetooth earbuds for that. Is this interesting? I'm really sorry. I'm running out of things to talk about because I'm about to wrap up. That actually needs to be more like that. Cut and delete you, paste. Oh! I think I just pasted, yeah, whoops. Oopsie. Did I do that? Did I do that? Oopsie, did I do that? Yes, you clearly did. You're the one in control of the computer. Okay, so let's see now. Would we see any of the bottom line? We would just about, would we? I'll do a hint. I'll hint. Just a hint. Okay. Maybe I do close that gap actually. Let me turn the guide off. Okay, a couple of things. First of all, much more like that. Second of all, what was the other thing I noticed? This has to be more like that. Also, I'm going to get rid of this bottom line because I don't think it is necessary. But what I am going to do is make it a bit thinner actually. Doesn't need to be quite so thick. Oh, please, Toon Boom, you're really chugging. I need to seriously spend like 10 minutes or something just working out how I can improve the performance on Windows. I really don't like Windows. My performance when I'm on my Linux partition, because I run 2 operating systems on this computer. I've got this Windows 11 one for using Toon Boom. My Linux partition runs like so fast and smooth in comparison to this. Oh, it's such a shame that Windows has become a huge steaming pile of SH1T. Honestly, what they have done to this operating system. It used to be like Windows 7, right? It used to be really good. Even, frankly, Windows 10, they've just made it into a honking great steaming pile of inefficient crap. Why? Microsoft. Why? Why? How is it Linux can run smooth as butter whilst your paid for operating system runs like rubbish? You should be ashamed of yourselves. Which is why I do wish Toon had a just had a Linux version, you know, for home users like myself. It would just be so nice to get off of Windows, because I don't see Windows improving. Do you? No, I don't see Windows improving either. I should look into maybe seeing if I could run Windows on a virtual machine in Linux and just have Toon installed and nothing else on that. My only worry is that there'll be some Wacom compatibility issues. Like, how does a virtual machine handle a Cintiq? You know, I can't guarantee it'll be as compatible as it is actually running, you know, directly on a machine. Because the Wacom actually works quite well in my Linux partition on Debian, but would it work as well on a virtual machine? Okay. Oh, jeez. Oh, okay, I'm going to save. I am finding this lag a little bit irritating now. Also, I've got to quit. I mean, I've got to finish. So as soon as I'm done with this D, I am logging off. Thank you very much for watching. If you've watched all the way to the end, that's very nice if you have. Thank you. Or even if you've only just jumped on for a few minutes, thank you too. What is it about this D? Let me get rid of this line. First of all, do I like the outline shape? I'm not logging off till I finish this D, that much is for sure. Okay. I probably shouldn't have gone rid of that guide, should I? Hold on, I don't think I've gone that far back that I can't see how I originally had it. Yeah, okay, that is how it should be. It's more just trying to get this to work right inside. Why does this seem so wrong? Let me have a look. I might be wrong. I might be making... I think it's just trying to get this little bit of angle here. I'm sure I'll be tweaking this endlessly later on, but I'll leave it at that for now. Because I have to go. It's nearly 20 minutes past what I said I was going to go. Okay, we're nearly there, I think. Okay, let's see what that looks like. I think we might finally be there, or at least I might finally be there. How's that compare? Yeah, okay. Okay, we got there. We got there. It took a little bit of time. It always does. But we got there. Let me just do one thing. Let's extend that to be a bit more like that. And then... oh, again, it doesn't need to be quite as thick as I've done it here, so... No. Gosh. Yes, right. Okay. Right, so now let's see, do this again, just going to work out the thickness. Okay, so we can see a tiny bit. Something like that, I think. I'm going to move it just down a little bit. There we go, I think that's right. Oop. Alright. I think that D kind of fits the rest of them. I mean, okay, I'm going to do one last thing. Don't kill me. I'm going to do it where it's just a little bit thicker. Which is a relatively quick fix, because all I have to do is this. I think that hopefully should work. Let's find out. Okay. Right. I'm not going to work on this anymore. I've had enough. I think I'm just going to have to leave it like that. Even so, it still 100% doesn't feel right to me. What was that about me finishing round 4? Holy moly. This D, man. Okay, I'm literally like within a millimeter of getting this right. Okay. Okay. No, just leave it at that, right? Right? Oh my god, guys, I can't tell anymore. Alright, we've done it. I think we've done it. I think that's it. Yes, I'm not going to do that anymore. I cannot be asked. That is good enough. Compared to all the other ones, that is more than good enough. What I could do is maybe just trim it here a little bit. Like that. There we go, something like that. Alright. 40, okay, only 42 minutes later than I said, that's fine. Hey, it's a bumper stream today. Wonderful, and then just to be quick, rather than draw it all over again, I'm going to cheat. Love to cheat me, no. Copy paste. Yeah, you barely see it. It's barely worth doing it, to be honest. But I'll do it there just because it adds a certain je ne sais quoi. Alright, I'm done, guys. Holy moly. It's always the things that you think are going to take not very much time at all that take forever. Right. Okay, cool. Let's get that to fit the screen. Yeah, there we go. Thanks very much, guys. Thank you. Until the next stream. I don't know when it'll be. Hopefully this week at some point. Maybe during the day, but most likely an evening. I don't know. See you for now, everybody. Cheers.